Good morning, viewers, and welcome to today's live stream. I'm aware it's been a little while since we've been on the channel and had a discussion about different radio things, but, it is what it is, right? We all get busy. But, the thing is that if you've been paying attention to the weather lately or been affected by the weather, you know that well, storms have been a little crazy recently, and hey, they're still crazy. But that made me want to come on here and talk to you, the viewers, about weather radio. Now, a lot of people talk about, well, buy this weather radio, buy that weather radio, but if you're on here, then you probably use a handheld radio for communication, which I do a lot. So I thought we'd talk about weather radio and a little bit of programming it into your radio. Because not every radio has weather radio in it. Not everyone does. I know, strange thing, isn't it? But take, for instance, something like a UV5R or this one here, which is the GT3WP. These are good radio. This is a good radio. Especially if you want something that's waterproof. Pretty good and waterproof. I like to use this one when it's raining. Carry it with me. That way I can hear things on it. And, of course, all that other good stuff. Now, this one here is not pre-programmed with weather radio. So, you have to manually put that in. So, when you program it with chirp or manually, if that's what you do, you're going to have to put those frequencies in. But where do you find those? How are you going to find those? I mean, seriously, is there a list? Well, yes, there's a list. So if you venture over to weather.gov/NWR/station_listing, you'll find the radio frequencies. But not only, and you can shortcut this by just searching in your browser, NOAA weather radio frequencies. But it makes a little shortcut. All right, so now it'll show you on here. Do I have this where I can put it on the screen? Yes, I do. There we go. All right, so this will show you on the screen your weather radio frequencies. Notice there's 7 of them on here. And this is sorted out by states or by U.S. territories and districts. Now, you'll just want to pick your state. So let's say that you were in the state of Alabama. We're going to go with Alabama because it's first on the list. Then you just go down and find wherever you are. Oh, you're in Anniston. Your radio is out of service, apparently. That's interesting. But you find where your location, and then the corresponding frequency is right there. And then you just put that into your radio. Now, that's all fine and well to do. However, what I would recommend is that you put the frequencies, all of them in. Pick set up a memory block in a radio. Mine, I think, starts on 120 or 119, 120, somewhere along in there. But it's far enough down that I know exactly where the weather radio frequencies are, so that I can just turn on the radio and punch in the right channel. Now, it's an easy way to do it. But I would recommend putting them all in there because you never know if you're going to be somewhere else. Maybe you're traveling and you need to find out the weather in that area. Well, you could just scan through those frequencies till you pick up the weather radio in that area, and that would work. Okay, now that's all fine and well, and that's if you have to program it in on your own. But what if you don't have to program it in? What if it's pre-programmed in your handheld? Well, that's always a good thing. Take, for instance, this little 10-way radio here, which we've talked about on the channel. This is a GM55, and now if you hold down the back button, it will go into weather in the weather channels, and it will scan through them. It just automatically starts scanning until it picks up on one, and it'll stop there. That's a great feature. I like that feature. But it's on the back button. Now this here is the on the Radiodity GM30 Plus. You hold down the 0 key, and it'll get you in the weather radio. Then you can hold down pound and scan. Or you can just flip through the channels manually until you hit one. There's not that many. So, those two are easy to do. They're preset and pre-programmed into the radio. But say you have something like the 463, the Radtel RT 463 here. Now this one here is a little different. You have programmable side keys, and you can program in NOAA on there. It's built in, but you have to turn it on the side key function. One of the things that I like to do is make sure that I program my side key to where I know which one is the weather. Now on this radio, for instance, if I push the side key 2, the bottom button, if I push it one time, I'm going to get the FM radio. But if I long press it, I have weather. And then all I have to do is just change the channel to my local radio, weather radio, which is receiving today. Of course, I have my stubby antenna on here, so I'm not going to get a good reception. Also, that's another thing. When you're using your weather radio or your radio for weather, you really want to have a good long antenna on it to get the range. Stubby antennas are great for short range communication or for when I want to use the repeater, but you want to keep it. You want to be able to have a bigger antenna for that. Now, talk about antennas for a moment. Stock antennas, they're longer. They usually work real well. Good old whip antenna, always a good choice too. In case of my GM30 Plus and a couple other radios, another radio I have sitting here, I have these telescopic antennas on there. That way I can just extend them out for the extra range. And that's the way to do it. Now, depending on what radio you have, depends on what function, whether or not the NOAA frequencies are pre-programmed and preset on a key and what button it is. If you have to program them yourself, make sure you know the channel numbers. And be aware of that you have that resource. If you're in a stormy area and you want to go to bed, that's all fine and well. Now, when there's storms, I don't go to sleep. I stay up all night and watch radar and everything else because I want to make sure nothing's happening. But say you want to go to bed. Well, then what you do is you turn your radio on the weather frequency and you go to bed. Just turn it up loud enough that you'll hear that tone when it goes off. Because there will be an alert tone if there's a warning issued in your area. But that's the simple way to do it right there. Just look at your radio and see what capabilities it has. I like having it function. I like the functionality of having it on a one-push key. The problem is that I have so many different radios that I might grab. I have to remember what key I have every one set on. With the 10-way, it's real simple because the key is marked. It has a little cloud on it. With Radiodity, it's not marked. But, it's 0. I guess 0 is a good shape because it kind of has a round shape like a cloud. Clouds are kind of round. But you can make the same argument that 8 would be a good key for that too. The 463, it's on a side key. Now, one of the problems I was having when I was setting up the RT730 with the weather radio, I was forgetting where I put it. So what I did on this radio is I programmed it in on the top key. The reason I put it in the top key is because the top key is orange. That way I can distinguish it. Now, during a weather event, I mean, I'm more likely to grab the GT to listen to weather radio on than say even the 730. But the other thing is looking at your IP ratings for what radio you're going to use if it's raining outside. You don't want to have a radio on and then it go kaput because it gets wet. Excuse me. With the GM55, those are not waterproof. And they're barely an IP54. The same is true with the GM30 Plus. The RT463 is said to be IP65, but when you look at the openings on it for the speaker and everything, I wouldn't trust it in the rain. Now the 730 that we talked about, it is IP67 rated. That's what they say, and it is pretty solid. So yeah, I might use it in a storm. That's why you have it on the orange button. But more than likely, I'd rather grab one of these because one like this, and this is the same as like a UV9G or whatever. But the reason I would grab this is because this is a cheaper radio. It's a cheaper radio, and if it does get wet and quits working, boom, you're not out a lot of money. But that's twice. Okay. But the radio that you carry, the radio you grab as your go-to for storms and stuff, you need to make sure you have that weather radio in there. Now, this one here I have set for weather radio and emergency frequencies, and that's something else to put in a radio. Because you're going to be needing information. In case something does happen, you need to be able to have information and hear it. So have some emergency frequencies that are still analog. In my area, that's not a lot. But EMS and OEM are still analog. So that right there is your base. And, of course, weather radio. All right. Now, if you have questions about this, put them in the chat. Put them in the comments, not in the chat, sorry. Leave your comments on the video. And I'll come back and answer the questions on that in the future. We're going to try to do more videos here on this channel in the near future, where we'll be covering other topics. So we'll be getting into that. Also, probably do a stream in the near future just about standard storm information that you may need to know. All right. Until our next stream, y'all go out there and have a good one.